Sky here and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new. Today we are going to be filming part 4, potentially the last part of our main Halloween color along. If you haven't watched the first few parts, I highly recommend going to do so. We've been working in Jasmine Becket-Griffith's Halloween coloring book, and the page that everybody voted on was Pumpkin King's Night Out. So this is what we've got so far. I am really happy with this so far, except for his head. I'm still just not liking it, so definitely need to do something about that. I don't think there's really too much I want to say. I think for the most part, we're just going to kind of dive on in. So in this part, for sure, we're going to be trying to fix his head, and we're actually going to do that first because I need to do something about it. We're going to do his clothes, or at least most of them. Maybe not all of them, but most. And then Sally's dress, which I mean is pretty much everything on the page. I'm hoping we can actually get all of this done, but that's kind of the order we're going to do things in. And hopefully we can get it all done. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom on in and we're going to get started. Okay, so I think there's two main problems with what I did with his head. So it's purple, so it blends into the background too much, and I initially wasn't thinking that that would be a problem because I wanted Sally to stand out, but now I'm realizing I do need them both to stand out. So that is part of the problem. I think the bigger part of the problem, though, is I'm doing them as Jack and Sally, and this just doesn't look like Jack's head. So I think that's part of what's bothering me as well. So Jack's head is actually white. He's a skeleton. He's a skeleton. He's a skeleton. So yeah, his head is white, and then the accents on him are black. So I think what I'm going to try to do, because I don't really want to erase and recolor this because the tooth is already wrecked, so it wouldn't turn out very well, and it might not be fixable at that point if it didn't go well. So I'm hesitant to go that direction. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use Posca and hope for the best. So I've got my Posca pen here. I think I might have to use acrylic paint. These Posca pens are just irritating the heck out of me lately. They are just not working well at all. Yeah, I'm sorry guys. I'm gonna have to use acrylic paint. I apologize if you don't have any. Posca pen probably would work, but mine are just garbage. Okay, so I've just got some generic De La Rowney's white acrylic paint. Nothing special. This stuff is fairly cheap at Walmart. I mean, it's a little more expensive. I think I paid like $12 for this bottle because it's a ginormous bottle, but this will literally last me a long time. And then I've just got a little bit of water and a paintbrush. Paintbrush doesn't really matter, but I'm going for something a little bit thinner. I should say that the kind of paintbrush. You do want a paintbrush, but the kind of paintbrush doesn't matter. So I'm actually wondering, we'll try this first. I'm just gonna lightly paint over everything that we've colored. And I wonder if that will be enough. Like, this isn't gonna be very opaque, like not completely, but it might dull down the color enough where it looks better. So I'm just gonna try and get an even coverage. I don't want streaks in it. If we can avoid that, that'd be awesome. But yeah, this might actually work to our benefit because a little bit of the purple highlights will show through, but it's not going to be as prominent, which might be all we need. So we'll do one layer of this and then we'll see. I am just trying to kind of do the strokes up following the direction of the pumpkin. Like, I don't want to go horizontal if we can help it. I'm going to try to keep it vertical and in line with how they go. Part of me honestly wanted to just kind of scrap this and start over, but for one, I don't have the time to do that. I truly don't. I'm already recording this part way later than I wanted to. I'm not behind by any means, but I just wanted this out a little bit earlier. Or not out, but I wanted to be done with this one a little bit earlier. But there's been a couple things that have just kind of popped up that have taken precedence, so I didn't really have the time to record, which is fine, but I definitely don't have the time to start something new. And also, I think it's more beneficial to you guys if I show you how to fix something that maybe you don't love. I think it's really important to kind of put the message out there, like, don't give up. Even if it's not turning out the way you wanted it to, there's always a chance to try and save it. And I've always said that even if you don't like the way your page is turning out, always finish it. Don't give up. Don't trash it. Try and finish it. You may not still like the outcome of it, but you might learn a thing or two along the way, and you might not completely dislike it, or it might turn out absolutely amazing and maybe you'll love it in the end. You just never know. But by trashing it, you're definitely 100% missing out on a learning experience at the very least. I think this is looking okay, actually. It's amazing what just a little bit of paint can do. I am already starting to like this a lot better. And then the nice thing about using acrylic paint is it's got a little bit of texture to it, so you can actually use pencil over it. So this is going to give us a little bit of grace with putting additional layers on if we need them. I'm actually kind of liking it how it is, so I don't know if I would actually put more layers on, but it's nice to have that option if we do need it. I think that looks so cool, actually. I like that. I actually really like that. So in this case, maybe it turned out to be a happy accident. So kind of what it looks like to me, we still have that little bit of purple, but it's not super in your face like it was before. And even then, like before it wasn't even that light, but it was light enough that it bothered me. But now he kind of looks ghostly, which I love that. His head literally looks like it's glowing and it looks super cool in my opinion. So hopefully you guys feel the same. Totally okay if you don't. Hopefully you like it. Can't win all of them, unfortunately, but yeah. So now I probably should wait till this is fully dry before doing this, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to take my black pen. You can use a Prismacolor pencil if you want, totally up to you. I'm going to take my black pen and I'm going to color in these outlines here. I don't know what we're doing with that bottom part of his eyes yet. I might actually just color them in, but I'm just not sure. It's kind of an awkward angle here. Still undecided on the eyes. I mean, Jack does have very big eyes. I'm gonna go ahead. I think it'll be okay. Hopefully. There's no going back now. But he has those really big round eyes, so I think making these ones a little bit bigger is okay. Yep. Oh, 1000%. Yeah. Look at the difference between that. Way better. Absolutely amazing. Just gonna get my painting stuff away from this just in case. Okay, so that is a really good place to start. Now let's focus on his suit. Okay, I'm just gonna grab my colors that I kind of pulled out for that. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put Mediterranean blue everywhere that's going to be black. So I'm just gonna do a nice kind of even base. I think this part is going to be black as well. I'm a little bit undecided on his neck and the stem on his head. Because technically his neck would be the same color as his head. One sec here. But I don't really want to do the stem that color as well, so I'm a little bit undecided. And I also feel like if I want to make the stem match his head, I should probably actually, or his neck, sorry. If I want to make his neck, if I want to make anything match his head, I should probably do it now while I have my acrylic paint out. Because obviously we would have to do that step as well. But I can always pull my acrylic paint out again, I suppose. I think I would make the stem a little bit darker. I wouldn't make it match the neck. But I do feel like the neck should actually match his head. Let me just see what I used for that. I don't know if I have all of the colors. Let's see. Black, grape. Okay, I'm not gonna pull this. No, I should pull the swatches out for this. Okay, okay. Oh wait, hold on. I didn't write them down because I wasn't sure if I was gonna go over top of it or not. Okay, start with the black grape. We can see it, right? Yes. Okay, so we're going to start with the black grape. I'm just going to kind of go over these lines. And then we're going to add a little bit of a shadow where his neck comes out from his head. I'm going to add a little bit of extra shadow here, so I'm just going to go a little bit darker here. And a little bit here. And then down here as well. Darker around his neck. And fade that out. Okay. Okay, next color is violet. So just bringing the violet out slightly from the black grape. Okay, 50% cool gray. So that one I think we had just going over the purples. I can't exactly remember, but I think just a little bit over the darker purples should be okay there. See, and then we did the 20% cool gray. So that comes out just slightly from the darker gray. Not a whole lot of room, so I'm just gonna lightly blush these colors in, but they might not be doing a whole lot. And then lastly, we'll finish it off with the 10% French gray. I'm just gonna add this in following the direction of the kind of like veiny bits of these, of his neck. Okay, I like that. That looks okay. So now we want to go in with our white. And then same thing as we did up top. We're going to add this in and we're just going to bring it down, kind of following the lines. Just using tiny little bits of pink, so we don't really need a whole lot for such a small area like this. Just gonna lightly go over. I think let's do it up top too. I'm just gonna lightly go over the outline. Okay, yeah, and then lightly gonna go over the edges of his neck too. Trying to keep it directly on the lines because we still have to color this area, but that looks really good. That looks good there. Very happy with that. Okay, so we've got our Mediterranean blue. Let's start in with the 90% French gray. Or sorry, 90% cool gray, not French gray. And we're just gonna start popping in some shadowed bits here. And we're not in frame completely, are we? Oh no, we are still, kind of. Hopefully you guys can still see that here. I need it kind of out of my way. So this is our second darkest color. I'm going to kind of use this to block out our shadows. This is going to be a mostly black color. We want it really dark, but I want to have it a little bit more gray than black in some areas, like in the lighter areas. And I'm also not sure exactly how dark I want to go, so this is going to kind of help keep us from going too dark too fast. And we can kind of use this to figure it out. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of a shadow underneath. I think this is called the lapel. Pretty sure. Could be wrong, but I think so. It's going to sound really dumb if it's not. But that's okay. We're adding kind of a shadow on both sides here. Most of this is just going to be dark. Still just blushing this color in just real lightly. Add a little bit here, but I want it a little bit lighter around the edges, so I'm not going to go fully in there. Back here is going to be quite dark, but again, still just blushing this color in. Do a little bit of a shadow maybe on the left side, and then the right side. So I want to do a shadow both on like the bottom of his belt and underneath his belt. Like I said, this is the second darkest color, so we'll be going in with the black to make some of these super dark, I guess. So this is going to be shadowed kind of along his arm, and then at the bottom, a little bit of a shadow underneath this part of the belt. This back here, it's going to be just mostly shadow. So color that whole area in there. I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow where it kind of disappears in behind his belt. And that's on both sides. And then I'm going to do a shadow just along this side too, just because I want to. His suit looks like a mess. We're in the ugly phase. Even though this is just a base, I'm just going to fade some of these up a little bit softer because I left them a little bit messy. So anywhere where it looks super harsh, I'm just going to come back in and try to work that out. Doing that kind of helps get me through the ugly phase. It's unnecessary, but also very necessary. So yeah, confusing, I know. Okay, let's go in with our black. I'm gonna super sharpen mine, so we're gonna need it. Make sure we're still recording. Okay. I didn't put the last video on my computer and delete it from my phone, so I'm a little bit worried about storage. It should be fine, but you never know. Okay, let's kind of work in this area since this area is going to be very dark. So I'm just gonna outline his neck here. And then I'm going in fairly heavy-handed. This is going to be almost straight black. So I'm going to go kind of like around like this. So it's straight black, kind of outlining these areas, and then I'm going to soften that up and fade it out. It's kind of like that. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, that looks good. It's going to be very, very dark underneath his arm, so I'm just going to start working up this layer of black here. So there is going to be a lot of black. I'm only gonna darken up on kind of like the down angled bits of his lapel here. So when I'm working with black, I just find it's good to just really work up that layer and not just go in super heavy-handed, because it never looks good, ever. It feels like it takes a long time to get items black, but it's worth it. I think just his outfit alone is going to take up a lot of our time. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to do 5 parts, and I think I'm going to be mean and release the 5th part on Halloween, because I think that'd be cool. Let me just see. I'm gonna look at my calendar here. I think that'd be neat, yeah. Of course, our rainbow members will get it a little bit earlier. So I might have bit off a little bit more than I can chew with this page. It's definitely taking longer than I anticipated it would, which is totally fine. I really don't mind, but I definitely don't want to have a super, super long part. So to me, it just makes more sense to have an extra part rather than have extra long parts. My brain is in the gutter right now. It's been a long day. And that sounded bad, so I take that back. Extra long videos, I'll say that. This little piece of the belt back here, I'm just going to color that in black. This I'm not going to color in fully black because I don't want it to hide, but I'm gonna make it a little bit darker. Don't want it to blend in too much is what I'm trying to say. And then we'll darken this up a little bit. I like how this is looking so far. We might have to add more black, but for now this is looking pretty good. So same thing on this side. I'm only going to darken up the kind of bottom bits of the lapel here. It's going to be dark under here, actually. I'm just going to kind of darken up this whole area here, because I'm also going to have it dark in behind her hair. I feel like her hair is just kind of right by his shoulder. I want to make it look like they're close, obviously, so I feel like she'd be casting a little bit of a shadow on his jacket as well. I'm going to darken up this side a little bit just because I'm going to fade it out right about here. And then we'll just work at this area a little bit, try and fade everything out nicely. This little bit here is going to be fairly black. I'm going to leave a little bit of a highlight on the very end of it, that way we can see it. I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow here. And then here. Trying not to make up here as dark as I want it down here, so this is not super black. Okay, so super, super dark underneath the belt. And then let's fade out from that. We'll have it a little bit darker behind his sleeve here. Not quite as dark as underneath the belt. I'm going to have it a little bit lighter. And then same with kind of around her dress here. I think that looks pretty good. I don't know if we're done with the black, but let's go back to the 90% cool gray for now. Because this one is also fairly dark. So I'm gonna blend this kind of in and out from the black. We're gonna work on building up those layers to get this burnished eventually. That's the goal. Really trying to build up these layers just in case we have to use a blender pencil, which often I find if I'm trying to do black, I do. So even like with the cape and stuff, you can see little specks of white, which I don't mind for the cape, but I think for the suits, I want it to be as black as possible because we're going to be putting white stripes over it, assuming my Posca pens cooperate. But that's the goal. That's the plan. We'll see how it goes. Wondering if I should go get my kiddo now or if he'll be okay for a bit. He likes to play after school, but the weather is kind of crappy, so I'm a little bit worried that he might end up being the only one there. And then sometimes he gets scared, and he doesn't have his phone today because it was dead, so I had to charge it. Smaller areas are definitely easier. I hate large areas. Not a fan at all. They're always a little bit more complicated. The purple did seep back in quite a bit over his head. I was a little bit worried about that it would dry differently, but I think I still like it better than it was before, so I don't know, I might leave it. I might do another coat, I'm not sure. Let's darken up where the lapel comes in from behind the collar. And then I am gonna kind of darken up where we have that shadow here. So I'm gonna kind of shadow it coming out from the button and a little bit on the underside where it kind of tucks in behind, or like, I don't know, curls under, I guess. Maybe soften this side up just a little bit more. I think I'm gonna fade this out a little bit farther. I'm not gonna add too much more color into it, but I do want to fade it out just a little bit more, because otherwise these are just gonna look too light. I want them lighter than everything else, but I don't want them to look too light. All right, 70% gray is next. Just gonna lightly kind of add this in here. I don't think I want to go any lighter than this. I would actually like it still darker, but I'm still going to do a layer of this, and then I'll probably come back in with the black and then the 90. For the most part, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add like a kind of like light medium layer of this. Just to help. It's looking good so far, though. I do like it. Okay, what are we at for time? Only an hour, not too bad actually. I'm gonna finish his suit and then think that's going to be it for this part, but I do want to add one more coat on his head. I think we do need it. I should have waited to do the black until it fully dried, but it's okay. Don't need it everywhere. I'm mostly going to focus it where it's like a bit too purple. If we end up going over the black, we can always touch it up too. And we probably will anyways, so not too worried about that. There we go. I don't think I'm going to do his neck as well. I think I'm going to leave that a little bit darker because I think it actually kind of works with his neck being a little bit in the shadows. So I think I'm going to leave it like that actually. All right, I'm going to go get my kiddo before the weather gets too miserable, and then we'll come back and we'll finish his coat. All right, I will be back shortly. All right, I am back. This should be pretty much dry. It looks so much better. Definitely was worth the second coat. It's a little bit patchy in some areas. Looks a little bit funny. I might add just like a tiny little bit to... You shush. Just gonna add like a tiny little bit. This spot specifically, by his eye here, and then this part right here, I think. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more white to those spots. I'm just gonna fade it out a little bit, or like spread it out, I guess, so it's not just concentrated in one area. There. But other than that, I think it looks okay. Just a little bit right here. So that's going to be quite a highlighted area, so I'm okay adding a little bit more there. All right, now we can carry on. So I think I'm also gonna add another layer of the Mediterranean blue. So just lightly, kind of like light medium. I don't wanna add too much pressure because I don't wanna end up burnishing this before we're ready to. But I do want a little bit of that blue hue to kind of poke through. It's not so important in like the darker areas because we're not really gonna notice it, but I add it to the lighter areas. It might not even be noticeable when we're done anyways because the lighter areas are gonna be a little bit darker, but it's worth it to try, I think. Okay, we're gonna go back in with the black. We're gonna go back over our shadows where we had with the black, and we can bring them out a little bit further, I think. I think I'm just gonna like color in this whole area. It's not gonna be like completely black, but I'm gonna kind of fade it out and just lightly go over the whole area. I think that actually looks really good. And I think we'll use the a blender pencil to burnish everything. I was thinking about using a lighter gray, but the only problem with that is then it just looks too grayed out. It doesn't look the best, so I don't usually like doing that. I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna go over our shadows with the black, and then I'm just gonna lightly go over the highlights as well with the black. We're just gonna keep doing this everywhere. I do very much love how this is looking, and I think when we have the white stripes on it too, it's going to look even better. And I'll show you the picture that I referenced to with how we're going to do the white stripes, because I was a little bit undecided. There was a lot of people that kind of drew in like larger chunks, kind of like this, for stripes. And I don't want to say that they looked bad, because they didn't. They still looked really good, but it wasn't as appealing to me. Like it looked a little bit too busy for what I wanted to do. So I was trying to kind of look for an option. I was actually debating just leaving his suit dark and leaving it black. And I mean, we could, because it looks good, but it wouldn't necessarily represent Jack to the fullest of our capacity if we left it like that. So I didn't really want to leave it. But then I came across someone who did just really thin lines, and just quite a few. They did lots of thin lines, but it looked really good. It didn't look too busy. It looked very much like his suit. So I'm going to take some inspiration from that, and that's what we're going to do. Make it a little bit darker here, kind of where his elbow bends. I'm gonna put a little bit of a shadow here too, actually, I think. Just a thin one. It doesn't have to be anything too major, but just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna grab my blender pencil, wherever it is. And I'll probably speed this up, but I'm just gonna go through and burnish and blend all of this. And this will also hopefully help the Posca pen sticking to this. I know a lot of the times they don't like to stick because of the wax, but hopefully this helps. Okay, that's done. So it adds kind of like a velvety look to his suit, which I actually really like. So this is, let's see how this is looking up here. My ring light's gonna put a glare on it. So this was by Deem. And this is how she did hers. And I actually really like that. I probably won't do as many stripes, but I do really like how that looks. So that is the goal there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back in with my pen and just define these lines a little bit here. So I don't really need to color the whole area in again unless we feel like we need to. I am anyways, actually, because I am noticing it looks a little bit different. Whether it's just because the ink is wet or not, I'm not sure, but I don't want to have to come back and do another coat if it does kind of dry looking different. So I'm just gonna, for the most part, go over the whole area. But yeah, we'll definitely bring these lines back out. I'm actually gonna make these appear like a little bit sharper than intended just because we can. So I'm just gonna add like little thinner, pointier tips on some of these. Bring it down just slightly and see that adds like quite a bit more kind of like edge, I guess, to it. It makes him look a lot more sinister, which I know Jack Skellington isn't really supposed to be scary, but it's Halloween. There, I think that looks pretty cool. So of course on camera it's showing a little bit more of the white than my eyes can see. So it doesn't look like the burnishing did a good job, but I promise it did. Okay, so just gonna start adding lines. Kind of loosely following the shape of his arms. I don't care if the lines are perfect by any means. I'm gonna kind of add one just like on the very edge, which will help kind of define the arm from the cape. It's kind of like that. I'm gonna have one that kind of peekaboos a little bit here. kind of like that. I think I'm going to leave the lapels black, and then same with the cape as well. I think I'm going to leave that. Probably should have added a little bit of purple in the cape. I might still. I think I will right now, actually, while I'm thinking about it. So I'm just going to grab the violet out. And I'm just going to color over this. It's pretty well burnished, but might help a little bit. Yeah, don't really notice it too much, but it shows up slightly. So maybe kind of like that. And then we can carry on some of these lines. And just to kind of show this as part of his shirt, we can do like a couple lines kind of like that. Let's add one line kind of closer in here. There we go. I think that looks better. And now I'm almost wondering if we should add lines to the lapel of his. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. I'm going to go over these lines and just thicken them up slightly, not a whole lot at all, but I definitely want them to be a little bit more white, and I want them to stand out a little bit more. So just gonna slowly work on that. I'll probably speed this up as well. Okay, really, really like this. I'm gonna take my black and I'm just gonna kind of add to the outlines here. So I'm gonna outline the lapel. I'm gonna add outlines pretty much anywhere where the white hits, just because it looks kind of funny. It looks like the white's kind of going over the black a little bit. And I don't want that at all. So here, right here. Kind of outline the belt maybe. Just gonna kind of help that appearance that the lines are actually, I'm not gonna bother on here because this looks fine. It doesn't look like the lines are doing anything there, but yeah, I think that's better. All right, I really like that. It's debating giving him like little white dots for eyeballs, but I think I have to leave it. I don't want to accidentally mess it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom on out. Don't mind the mess. All right, this is what we've got so far. I am probably gonna back-to-back record and get this finished tonight. So I'm gonna plug my phone in and get rid of some videos on it, upload them to the computer, write down what we've used for this part, and then we will have a part 5. So yeah, one more part and then this is finished. I so can't wait to see this done. I'm hoping you guys are enjoying this so far. If you guys are, if you could like this video, I would really appreciate it. It helps me and the channel out a lot. And yeah, I think that's it. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. All right, guys, as always, take care. Bye.